Hi, hi, you beautiful souls. Okay, so we're about, sorry, we're about 50 subs away from the 3.5k special, and this is what I had decided. So, a little backstory for those of you who haven't seen this movie, but this What If is based off of the movie The One, starring Jet Li. Um, basically, there's this myth, there's this thing in the movie where you will, if you kill, if a double, if one of your doubles in an alternate universe dies, you basically gain some, like the life force is split amongst the remaining ones. In Jet Li plays two roles. He plays the big bad guy, and he also plays the hero. So with the, and I'll put a link to the wiki page so you can go read it. But in this is going to be the kickoff of my own personal multiverse story. Now, there are possibly some things that can happen in the future, but we'll get to that when we cross that bridge. This is mine. There's a handful of what ifs that I've started that will be involved in this. The rest won't be because they'll be their own separate multiverse. So, that being said, our story, it begins with a wholesome scene. All Might, he's standing with two people in front of him. A young Midoriya. When I chose you as my successor 20 years ago, I never thought that I would be accepting you into my family. To you, my daughter, Isuka, I'm truly sorry I missed out on your childhood. My regret is that your adoptive parents aren't here today to see this. Dad, we talked about this. I don't blame you. My birth mother, she hid me from you. She thought that because of your status as a hero and you being the number one hero, it would, you becoming like the number one hero just even reinforced that. She was worried that your enemies would use me and her to hurt you, and she didn't want to put you through that. All Might embraces his daughter, and the two tear up a little bit. In Izuku, he basically says, "So, is that a yes, All Might?" Asks the adult Izuku. And All Might grabs Izuku's hand and also grabs Kendo's hand. "Please, Izuku, take my daughter and cherish her." As he places their hands together, Izuku begins to smile, and they talk. Izuku begins to smile. All Might and the two hug each other, and he hugs both of them. And he's like, "Thank you two. This is the best gift I could have received." So they talk about arrangements and everything. They plan their date 6 months out, so all the parties that they want can be there. Because having a group of friends that are a bunch of heroes, and a few of them being top ranking heroes, it's hard to schedule some time where everyone can join, and they already know that their wedding may be interrupted where a hero may have to leave. So basically this is like a hero's wedding. So they have in a few minutes pass, and this happy moment takes a turn for the worst. All Might, he begins to cough really bad, and he passes, he goes to fall, and Izuku, without thinking, grabs All Might and shoots off, taking All Might to the closest hospital. When he lands, he creates a large crater. Cops and pros approach the crater, and then they see it. They see Sentry holding an elderly man One of the pros jumps in with a stretcher and says, Sentry, what's going on with All Might? He just started to cough really badly and collapsed. I didn't have time to, triage. I overdid it with my work a little bit. You need to get him into the hospital now. So, Sentry, like Izuku, in this universe, he's known as Sentry. And some of you may have been, wait, what? 20 years ago? Well, in this specific universe, time passes differently. 1 year in canon universe, and also the universe that this will predominantly take place in, Izuku, it's a 2.25 to 1 ratio. And our two main Izukus that this series will be about, there's a good age difference. Things will happen in each universe, but certain events may happen before or after events happen in another universe. It's just a spawning of a new universe. So, Izuku, he's just standing there and he's like, damn it, Kendo. Told you we should have done this earlier. I knew we didn't have that much time. I knew we had at best a year left. Damn it! As he's pounding the ground, just creating tremors and everything. Eventually, a particular hero comes by because he was in the neighborhood, and he's like, Sentry, calm your damn nerdy ass down. Can't be that damn bad. You're the number one hero. Start freaking acting like it. God, can't believe I constantly lose to you. And Izuku, he looks up and he's like, damn it, Sunspot. Oh my, he collapsed. He just jumps down into the crater, basically grabbing Izuku and saying, where's Kendo? Isn't she supposed to be with you? You guys were going to go talk to All Might about. And Izuku's like, yeah, I don't know. And he just grabs his head. And he's like, it's happening again, Scott. It's happening again, Conshot. Another one. It's dying. And Izuku begins to levitate in the air, and then he falls down, hitting the ground, creating a smaller crater in the already big crater. About an hour passes, and Kendo arrives because she doesn't have the power that Izuku has. And she comes in, she's crying and everything, and Izuku's there in the hallway, in his full hero suit, mind you. He still hasn't powered down from using his quirk. And she just sees the look on her fiance's face, and she then just starts bawling, and Izuku comes up to her and grabs her, and he's like, I'm sorry, this is all my fault. If I wouldn't have done, he wouldn't be going through this. Kendo, she sort of composes herself, wipes the tears, and then just pulls Izuku for another hug. She's like, it's fine. You didn't have any other choice. You had to. So, after a meeting with the doctors and everything, All Might's he's still in intensive care, and they tell them that they should probably say their goodbyes. He's probably gonna die like tonight. He probably won't live to the morning. This causes Kendo to like break down, like she's just bawling. And Izuku's like, Kendo, I'm sorry, I've gotta go make a few phone calls. I promised you that your dad would walk you down the aisle. And, well, this isn't what we planned. A lot of people probably won't be able to show up, but I'm going to make sure he sees you get wed. Your parents, they died before I could ask them. And, oh my. So Izuku, he goes to the roof of the building and then hears a familiar voice. And he's like, and Izuku's like, oh, hey, Kacha, that actually works out great. And Katsu's like, damn nerd, is All Might's gonna be okay? With noticeable concern on his face, and he's like, Izuku's like, Kacha, he's not gonna make it until the morning. I need you to make a few phone calls. I've got Ida and Ochako. I've got Ida and Kaminari and Jiro. If you can get in contact with Ochako. And I know it's gonna be difficult getting like your guys' kids here, but please, I want her to be here. You two, I need to go get my mom now, or at least give her a call. So Izuku starts making phone calls and explains the situation to everyone. Ida, Jiro, and Kaminari. Ida's like tells him, it's like, well, I probably won't be able to get there for at least another 2 hours. Hopefully, like, I'm sorry if I don't make it, Izuku. And Jiro and Kaminari say, no problem, Izuku. We'll end things here right now. Like, they're performing concert. Like, and because, like, this is Kaminari, like, he has, like, a headset on, and he's talking to him. He kind of, like, everyone just sees him, like, walk up on the stage and, like, say something into Jiro's ear, and Jiro, like, just stops playing and puts the guitar down and, like, says, I'm sorry for everyone that came out to see us play today. We have a family emergency we need to go deal with. You can get a refund for your ticket if you want at the front desk. And she, like, snaps her finger, and, like, a few people come up to, like, start cleaning up. Jiro and Kaminari start running out, like, the building. And this is when, like they pull out a few devices and, like, push a couple of buttons and throw them out, basically creating hover bodies. And they get on them and they rush there. Izuku, he's like, everyone gets there, and Kaminari, Jiro, Katsuki, and Ochaka and their daughter arrive. And he's like, they all just pretty much hug Izuku and tell him, he's like, sorry man, sorry you're having to go through this. You just recently had to. And Jiro kind of, like, nudges Kaminari into the thing, and Izuku's like, it's fine, I know, Dad, like, after burying Dad, I didn't think thought I'd have at least another year with All Might. Knew he wasn't in good health. So, that's why I promised Kendo. So Jiro sees Kendo like sitting there with sitting like down the hallway with her hands on her face, and she walks over along with Ochako and is talking, and they're like, Kendo, we're sorry about this. Like, after your parents, like, year after UA, when your parents died, and then when we found out All Might was actually your biological father, none of us thought this would happen. At least so soon. And, like, they have like a girl moment. So they get up and Katsu's like, here. Like handing it to like handing like a God, I don't know what it's called, but basically he's handing her like a dress, and he's like, "You guys, make her look good. Make her look good, Ocha. I'll take care of the little one while you guys deal with that." And then he turns to Kaminari and Izuku, and he's like, "Kaminari, here, this one's for Izuku. Like, we should at least get these two, like, dressed appropriately." And we cut to a scene inside the room. We cut to about about an hour before Izuku like lands in front of the hospital, this time not creating damage, and he sits his mom down, and Izuku just runs into the building. And as Inko is making her way to like the door, Kendo walks out, and she's like, she just grabs Kendo and basically tells her, it's like, baby, I'm sorry to lose so much and gain something back, his life, and then one day for it to happen again. As Inko begins to tear up, Kendo then grabs Inko and hugs her back. "Thanks, miss." Inko stops her and says, "It's Mom. You're about to join the family, so just call me Mom." So they have like a ceremony there in the room, and Ida finally shows up, and he's like, "Good, I made it." And Izuku's like, "We would have. Thank God you're here. We almost had to use the parishioner of the Catholic parishioner to do this. You did get licensed, right, Ida?" And Ida's like, "Yeah, definitely." So they do the ceremony, and it's bittersweet. All Might then with last little bit of energy that he kind of had, puts the rings on Izuku and Kendo, and he gives them one last hug, and then he passes out. And Izuku and Kendo are just sitting there all night, crying throughout the night. Kendo's just completely distraught. And when morning comes, All Might kind of opens up his eyes, and he sees the two, and he's like, "Don't be sad. I had an amazing life. And Izuku, my last words to you. You were like a son to me, so if anyone was going to be my daughter's husband, I'm glad it was you. Don't be sad, you two. I'm going to a better place." And with that, All Might, with a smile on his face, breathes out his last breath. And Kendo is both Izuku and Kendo are standing up, embracing each other, fighting back tears in like in Izuku's case, like unbelievable rage. Inko comes in and she's crying, and she sees the two and she embraces them, and she's like, how about we let Katsuki deal with like the paperwork, and we'll be back like in a few days. You two need to get some rest. You've been up all day. And Izuku, don't worry about it. The agency called. They'll handle everything. You two just take time off and deal with this. And so now we're going to cut to a little over 4 years later, to a scene of chaos. Kendo's in a strange device with tears streaming down her face. She's legitimately crying. She's crying from rage, anger. She's crying because of everything that's happened in the past couple of days. Damn it, Kendo! And someone can be heard screaming at her. Damn it, Kendo! Go now! You're the only one that can make the damn jump now, since that damn nerd gave it to you. Go now! As he's creating massive amounts of explosions to fight back what looks like to be some weird flames. And Kendo, with tears, punches the button, kind of destroying it a little bit, activating the device. And as though she wasn't there and the device wasn't there, she disappears. Katsuki is smiling and he thinks, I did it, Izuku. I was able to keep my promise to you. They're safe now. As these weird flames engulf him, and then you just see Katsuki Bakugo, age 30, age 40. Quirk, explosions. Quirk, advanced explosions. And boom, flames begin to engulf the planet, and the planet begins to disintegrate. Now we're going to cut over to another universe, about 10 years prior to the events that happened in the other universe and its death. Tonizuku, all happy, sitting in a doctor's office with his mother. Today, he'll find out what his quirk is. Because the past months, Izuku's been showing weird, things have been weird. He collapsed one day, and then afterwards, he started to. He seemed like he was stronger and he was faster, but not by a considerable much. He just seemed like a quirk was coming in. So they're there, and Izuku, he's all happy, and he's like, I'm going to find out what my quirk is today. So, just like in canon, Izuku's world is kind of destroyed. And they tell him, there's no chance of a quirk. He probably accessed more and more of his natural given strength. So, that night, after Izuku finally falls asleep at the computer desk, watching the All Might video, Izuku, he begins to have a strange dream, nightmare if you will. He sees someone that looks like his dad being killed, and then he Then he sees another person. He sees someone that looks like Katsuki, and it feels like he's shoving him. And this is like a complete, like the dream, like morphed and like it showed to this one, and it shows it. It feels like the Katsuki lookalike is shoving him, and he sees his hand. He sees Katsuki start to turn to dust, and then his hands begin to turn to ash as well. Izuku wakes up screaming, "Ah! They died! Dad! He died! He died!" Inko comes running in, and she's like, Izuku! Mommy! Daddy! Is he okay?" With like this look like of pure and utter terror on his face. Inko then, not sure what's going on, just basically sits with her son, like embracing him and comforting her son. When Izuku finally calms down after several hours and is able to tell his mom what happened, she immediately goes and grabs her cell phone and speed dials 1, and a voice can be heard. Hello, Inko, I'm really busy right now. What's going on? Why are you calling me so late for you? Then Hasashi hears it. He hears it. He hears something that no parent really wants to hear. He hears his child in utter pain, "Daddy!" with like whimpering, and while then after Izuku, like Inko explains that Deku, he had a really bad nightmare, and after an hour on the phone with Hasashi, and he basically told the people he was in a meeting with, like, they kind of heard Izuku's voice, and he's like, I'm sorry, I've got to go outside and take this." The businessmen are looking at him, and he's like, "Hasashi, go, take care of your son. Obviously something's bad happening." And he turns to like his partner, and he's like, "I'm sorry to leave this part on you. I don't know when I'll be able to like join you guys back." And the people that were there, that they were bidding for a contract, basically walks over to him, and with broken Japanese, like tells him, like, "It's fine. Family first." With like a smile on their face, kind of motioning to him, and he says thank you in English as he's like running out. In this business meeting, they turn to the guy, like the businessman turns to a few other people, and he says something, and then the translator translates it, and Hasashi's partner is just wide-eyed. And he's like, "Are you sure you haven't even heard the proposal?" And this is when the guy says, in English with some broken Japanese, says, if he's going to be the lead liaison on this project, we will do business with your company. If you guys value family like we do, you guys are the perfect fit for us. That just proves it. Now, let's actually talk business and what exactly the contract details. So after about an hour, Hisashi's able to calm Izuku down, and he finally is able to get Izuku to go back to sleep. So Inko says, "Hisashi, I'm sorry you lost out on the contract." And Hisashi's like, "I know, we could have used the money, but Izuku, he takes priority. If it came down to it and I had to come back to Japan, I'd be on the first flight. You know that, right, sweetie?" And Inko says, "Yeah, I know.
I'm a little tired myself. Get back to your meeting, babe, sweetie. I'll stay up and we'll talk. Call me when you get out. I'll be up. I won't be able to go to sleep after.
And, and she explains it after what Izuku said. So, when a Hasashi comes in, everyone just kind of turns their head. And one of the businessmen that is the guy's underling, who's his personal translator in business deals like this with international people, basically walks up to Hasashi and says, "So, the plan, it's a really good one. And also, my boss, he wants to know if your son's okay." And Hasashi, smiles and says, "Yeah, that's neither here nor there." And this is when the translator says, "No, my boss wanted me to tell you that family comes first. That's what our business is about. And, well, we understand that is your child okay? He sounded like he was in pain." And Sachi says, "It's fine. He just had a really bad nightmare. And it's been difficult on him. He found out today that he's quirkless. And, well, me not being around this past year has been really difficult on him." And this is when the person goes wide-eyed and she translate. I said businessman, I meant businesswoman. She translates to the business owner, and he basically tells her, "Okay, well, he says in English, "I want you to still be the lead liaisons, but how much would it cost for you to work from Japan?" And Hasashi's, when the translator tells Hasashi, he's like, "You don't have, no, sir, you don't have to do that." And the business, he sees the businessmen get, a little angry at this, and the translator then says, "Mr. Midoriya, my CEO, one of his greatest regrets is not being there for his child. You have to take care of your family first. And he never makes this deal, so accept it. If he's willing to invest the money, this isn't even going to be part of the contract. Knowing him, he'll want to fund it himself." And Hasashi then begins to cry. The business owner walks over to him and basically puts his hand on his shoulder and is grabbing his hand and shakes it. It's like, family first. Family first. That's our business motto. The translator translated, and Hasashi's just saying, thank you, sir. Thank you. So they spit, Hasashi then, gets out. He gets back to his hotel room, gets unwind, and he calls Ingo up. And he's like, "Babe, I've got great news. The project, I'm not going to be away from the States for the 4 years. I'm not going to be away from the States for the 4 years that the project would take." The CEO, he explained what happened with Izuku, not telling him what happened in the nightmare, and he was impressed. He asked me if it came down to it, what would be more important, my family or the business? And I told him, my family. And, well, he offered to get me set up to where I could work from home, and, well, I'd be gone a few weeks out of the year because I do have to come and do on-site things. But I'm pretty much going to be working from home, doing all the paperwork and video. I'm going to be watching the project via video. Ingo is happy at this. She's like, "Whoa, Hasashi, that's amazing. See, I told you, if you just keep at it, your business will take off. I know you
like if you would have kept with the Yajirozu company, things would have been a lot easier. But I told you, you had a good sound business model. And it just get home safely. And I'm gonna try to get at least a couple hours of sleep before Izuku wakes up. And so she's like, yeah, talk to you later, honey.
And the phone call ends. So, over the next 5 years, this Ezekiel will start having these nightmares sporadically. And after a couple of years of this happening, Izuku, he hasn't been working out, but now he can run a 2-minute mile. He can bench press nearly half a ton, like 1,000 pounds. He's shown a heightened intellect. And Izuku, he's gotten checked out. Like, the doctors don't know what the hell his quirk is. And they say, we'll try to get a specialist to come and read his quirk. Though their time is pretty precious, and it may take several years before they can have time to come to Japan. So a few more years pass, and Izuku, he's now 10, and another year, so he's now 9. And he's had many more episodes, and Katsuki stopped bullying him for being quirkless after one time. This is about a year after these things start happening. Like, Izuku one day just, punched Katsuki and sent him, indenting him into a wall. And Katsuki basically stopped bullying him at this point. He still hates the kid, hates his guts. Because he thinks, he hid it from me, no matter how many times Izuku says he wasn't hiding it. He is quirkless. Sorry about the interruption. I actually had to go and get a drink. Refill my drink because it was out. So, where were we? Okay, we're right there. Sorry about this interruption. So, Izuku, he finally at age 9, is able to, and Katsuki hasn't been bullying him. At age 9, the specialist finally is able to come to Japan. So Izuku and his mother do go to the hospital to get his quirk assessed and read, because this doctor has a very unique ocular quirk. He's able to he has X-ray vision, but also a add-on to the X-ray vision. He's able to read people's quirks. And yes, he is one of the few people that are in the know about the one-for-all quirk. Because he, when he was doing his residency in the States, a particular hero came in, and he looked at the charts, and then he asked All Might, so, what's this quirk one for all? I never heard of anything like that. And All Might just kind of went wide-eyed at this, and basically tells him to shut up, don't say another word, make sure everyone else is around. It's confidential information, young man. And the specialist kind of gulped at this, and he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't know it was a secret. So All Might basically was kind of forced to reveal One for All's secret to him, and the doctor goes wide-eyed. So over the years, this person would, All Might would keep in touch with this person just to keep on the up and up. Make sure he's not been spreading his secret, So Izuku arrives and they walk into like the examination room. The doctor, he walks over and he presses a button on the door. And basically, the windows to the room basically fog out. And he says, "Ah, yes, you must be Izuku Midoriya, the boy I've been hearing a great deal about. No one can figure out what your quirk is. Seems like you've been getting faster and stronger, and if I'm reading this chart, you've been getting smarter." And Izuku pipes up, "Yeah, for some reason, I've been able to start grasping, and only recently when, I haven't had a nightmare in 8 months, but before that, I started having them on, an every other day occurrence, and each time I saw them, I saw them all die. I started to think faster in everything." Inko says, "Doctor, is my boy okay?" And then the doctor says, he turns to Izuku and he's like, "Do I have my permission to use my quirk on you, young man? And whatever I see, know that this is bound by doctor-patient confidentiality. So if you don't want this out, it will die here in this room." And Izuku looks at his mom and he says, "Yes, I need to know what my quirk is so if I can stop these nightmares, then I don't want it to happen. I just want to be able to prep for it if it's unavoidable." So the man puts his hand up to his eyes and he says, "Just give me a moment so I don't use the X-ray portion. I kinda have to. My quirk was tied together, but after some mentorship from someone, I was able to use both sides of the quirk independently. It just takes some concentrations for me to activate one and not the other." And he goes, "Why do you need to cover your eyes?" And he's like, "Well, ma'am, my quirks. You've already been briefed. I can read other people's quirks, but I also have X-ray vision. And, well, you're not wearing, copper, your undergarments aren't copper lined, so I don't want to be seeing something I'm not supposed to." Inko kind of blushes at this, and Izuku feels a little weirded out by this, and then he says, "There." And then he opens his eyes, and he looks at Izuku, and his jaw just drops, and he takes a few steps back, kind of jumping back, and Izuku's like, "What's wrong, doctor? Is there something wrong with me?" And he's like, "No, young man, this is impossible. There's no way what I'm seeing is real." And he explains to Izuku that he does indeed have a quirk. And his quirk's name is Soul Bond. But the peculiar thing about this is that it does nothing but connect you to other Izuku Midoriyas in a multiverse. And Izuku's like, "What? What multiverse?" And the doctor's like, "Yes, sorry about that. Well, it has long been theorized that alternate realities happen. So you're probably seeing others of you die." And he says that last part very softly. Inko's kind of freaking out, and
She's like, is there something that we can do to stop this? And the doctor says, well, unfortunately, Miss Midoriya, there's nothing that can be done. It's just something your son will have to suffer through. And he's just like, but why would that make me stronger? And then the doctor explains that each time one of him, in a different reality or timeline, he's not sure, dies, a portion of their life energy gets absorbed by him. So Izuku, he spends the rest of the day kind of up in his room just pondering things. And he's like, so, this power, all this strength, all of this intelligence, it's not myself. It's power gained from others. At that thought, Izuku kind of like vomits because he realizes what has been happening over the years. And all those memories, all those flashes begin to pop up into his head. So Izuku, he, like the next year of Izuku's life, he's thinking like no other nightmares happen. Until one day, Izuku, and by this time, Izuku and Katsuki have been able to repair their friendship somewhat. They're more of the frenemies type right now, but they're getting there. They're getting there. Surely, slowly, one foot in front of the other. It's going to take a long time. Basically, Katsuki's like, whatever, nerd. So what? You're a late bloomer. And Izuku's like, damn it, I can't even tell Katsuki because I can't even tell him the whole truth. So Izuku knows this is probably going to come back and bite him in the ass, not telling Katsuki what's going on and what his quirk actually is. But he's like, the less people that know, the better. So, like, they're walking home from school, and Izuku just grabs his head and begins to, like, yell out. And Izuku kind of, like, pushes Katsuki away with just his voice. And Katsuki's like, damn nerd, what the hell's going on? Oh, yeah, that's right. You said it. You said this would probably happen sometime. Damn it, you're getting stronger again. So the headache passes, and Izuku sees a flash of him handing something to a woman that's crying, and seems like she's pregnant. And then it ends. So Izuku, he's winded and he's like, God, shut. I hate to ask, but can you give me a lift home? As he passes out and hits the ground. So when Katsuki gets Izuku home, he explains the situation. Inko gets scared because she knows what had happened. Izuku saw it again, and she's noticed that, yeah, Izuku has been getting, stronger. Seeing all of these things have really started to take a toll on his mind. And Izuku, he's concerned. So, as he's in the hospital with his mom, getting checked out, making sure he's okay, other events have transpired. All Might had his fight with All For One, got hurt, and he's now at this moment, while Izuku's getting checked out, Izuku, he's in one of those extended observations, because
it had been almost a year since the last time this had happened. And Izuku, like, they're concerned because a few of the doctors have been read in on his court. Basically, the government, when they found out about this, they were like, oh, hell no, this ain't gonna be public knowledge. Kind of like the all for one situation isn't public knowledge. Like, a handful of people in the government know about Izuku. So they are a little worried about this. And he's like, so this happens when All Might is basically about to, like, tell Night Eye that they're no longer, like, working together. Like, like an electrical ball, like, starts forming, like, in the hallway. All Might immediately, like, buffs up. Sir Night Eye gets into a fighting stance. Grant Reno, he basically gets in front of Recovery Girl, and they're ready to fight. And as they, like, right when All Might completely buffs up, a loud pop can be heard, and this naked woman falls from inside the electric ball, and she's holding on to something, and she's like, Dad, fight Inko Midoriya. As she collapses and hands, like, the ball, like, basically shoving the ball into, like, to him. And when All Might makes skin contact with her, something happens in front of him. Like, inside of him. He starts seeing something that he hasn't seen in many, many years. He starts seeing the vestiges. And they all seem riled up for some reason. So, after a few days of them talking it out, like immediately after, Light Eye says, "Don't trust, put that thing down, All Might. We don't know who this woman is and what she's doing. She called you dad, and I know for a fact you don't have a child." And All Might's like, so they, after a couple of days, they had been able to track down Inko, and they're waiting to speak with this woman before, like, they go and make contact with Inko. The woman wakes up, she's on a ventilator, and, like, she has tubes and stuff sticking inside of her. And she's like, oh my. And she well, first thing she says when she opens her eyes, she sees All Might's in his small Might form. And she looks over and she's like, Dad, no, wait. All Might, I'm sorry. I wasn't able to protect. We weren't able to protect our world. And she basically, like, collapses, like, she passes out again. And All Might, like, turns to Sir Night Eye. See, I told you. She's either from the future or she's from another universe. There is that boy that's why the name sounded familiar. She's the mother of that kid that has these visions of alternate realities. And plus, blood test came back positive that I'm her father. But it's weird. I never met, like you said, I never even got with anyone. It's crazy, and she's pregnant. We've got to, first, let's make sure she's okay, and then we'll get the Midoriyas involved in this. So a week passes, and Itsuka, she wakes up, and All Might has like a her has like the ball in his hand, and he's basically and he says, "Young lady, I'm going to take a wild guess and say you're from a place very far away from here. One could say an alternate reality." And Kendo's eyes wide. Oh, they go white. So this reality has knowledge of others. Good. That makes things a lot easier. And she goes to stand up, and All Might kind of puts his hand on her shoulder and says, "Rest. Your child. Your number one concern right now should be your unborn child." And Kendo grabs her stomach, and she's like, "My child. He's the last thing I have left. His father died in my arms. He gave me it all my. He gave it to me so that I could get out of there. Damn it. Oh!" As equipment just starts bursting away from her, and All Might even has to buff up completely to stop him from getting blown back. And he's like, young. I don't know what to call you, but you need to calm down. You're safe now. Calm down and explain what happened. So she does calm down, and she explains to All Might that in her world, her father, kind of nudging towards him, chose a successor, and by happen chance, her mother and him had gotten together and produced her. Her mother hid her away from you in the public, not letting anyone know she was pregnant, and put me up for adoption. By the time I tracked her down, she had already passed, so I couldn't get any knowledge. But then one day I received a really bad injury during hero work, and I needed an immediate blood transfusion. And we just both happened to be O negative with RH factor. And I know our All Might that we'll be following will be have the canon blood type, but this. And they did a blood test, and we found out who my biological father was. I'm sorry if this puts you in a weird spot, All Might, but I'm sorry for calling you Dad. It's just after seeing she begins to say her husband's name, and then she catches herself and says, "After Sentry died, God's and then Sunspot, little Sarah." And then All Might's like, "So, who did I choose to be my successor?" And she says, "I can't tell you that, All Might. Me getting transported to you proves that you haven't passed it on yet. By the way, why are you so young? Did you get hit with a youthful quirk or something?" And All Might says, How old was I in your universe when you met me?" And she says, "Well, you were about the same age that you are
Now, give or take five or 6 years. But, and she looks down and she's like, I'm sorry to say this, but you died 4 years ago. And my wedding day isn't the greatest. It's the day you died in my world. But I wasn't saddened by it. I can't cry over that. It's not what he would want. As she fights back like a tear, All Might realizes not to push this. And he's like, okay, well, from what the doctors say, your child, they can't really get a reading on it, and a weird energy is like sort of enveloping it. And this is when Kendo begins to cry, but All Might notices that she's smiling at this, and All Might's like, what is it? Even with his dying breath, oh, Sindri, even with your dying breath, you were thinking of saving others. You truly were the #1 hero. And All Might's shocked by it. So, I would say a few more months pass because they would want, before the whole added stress of meeting the Midoriyas and All Might finding out basically what Inko was to her, but not explicitly that she was a mother figure to her after her parents died. She knew of her, and then she knew of her because of run-ins with her son. And with that, All Might begins to sing, and the day before, All Might flat out asks, he's like, were you married to Izuku Midoriya? And Kendo goes, I knew when I brought up my relationship with Inko, you'd figure that out. Yes. In my world, my century, he was known to his friends and family as Izuku Midoriya, the boy, even after losing so much, always had a smile on his face, always kept everyone else safe. It's just the damn bastard! Filthy. He even laughed as he was doing it. So, that being said, All Might says, well, and then she looks at All Might kind of powering up one for all, and All Might's shocked. He's like, whoa, that's weird. No wonder when we touched, like the vestiges came back. And Kendo says, sorry, it's just, you can't give this Izuku that quirk. If you do, you'll definitely be dooming your planet, All Might. Me being here, I was said to go to the one Izuku that could match this guy and undo things that had happened. Sorry, but please, whatever you do, don't give that kid the quirk. So the next day, Inko is brought into the room, and Izuku's sitting outside, and
And a sickly man walks up to him and starts talking to him. The situation had been explained to Inko what was pretty much going on, and Kendo's basically sitting there nurse feeding, like nursing her son. And she looks up and she goes, "Mom, no, you're not my mom. I'm sorry, Miss Midoriya." And Inko basically says, "Sweetie, this is weird, but I've already known that alternate realities for a year now. I've known alternate realities exist, so you and my son in the other world were married." And she says, "Yes." And then Inko sees it and he's like, "That's your guys' kid." Inko comes running over to her and basically like gives her a hug, and Inko starts crying, and Inko says, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it, just seeing you two like that. I don't know what came over me. I just felt like you needed a hug." And Kendo wipes the tears from her face, and she's like, it's fine. I just didn't think I would ever feel that again. I know it's not the same, but looking down at like her child, it's true. You're kind of the constant in the universe. That heart of yours. And then Inko sees like the child like beginning to glow, and Inko's like, "Oh, ma'am, your baby, it's glowing." And Kendo looks down and she's like, "It's okay, sweetie, it's okay." And the glowing like stops aside, but as it does, the baby reaches up and puts its hand next to on Kendo's face, and Kendo is enveloped in this light. And when the light clears, Inko just goes, "Oh my god!" And All Might and Izuku come running into the room. And so before this, we're going to cut back to the story beforehand. So Izuku. "So, young man, I've heard a lot about you." And Izuku looks up and he's like, "You must be one of those government guys." And All Might then bluffs up, and Izuku starts to freak out. It's like, All Might. And All Might basically puts up his finger and says, "Shh," as he deflates, and he explains to Izuku that he recently got hurt, but not to worry. This won't keep the number one hero down. It's a hero's job to fight through the pain, to save those in need. And Izuku's like, "Yeah, that's right. So you heard about me and my curse or gift, depending on how you look at it." All Might says, "Yes, that's why we asked you and your mother here today. There's someone." So when Izuku walks in, so this is now back to All Might and Izuku entering the room. When Izuku sees the woman in the bed, his jaw kind of drops, and Inko sees this and she's like, "Baby, what's wrong?" And he's like, "Kutsuka Kendo." And Kendo's face just goes wide-eyed, and she's like, "Wait, you're Izuku Midoriya? You should be
older. Yeah, that's right. This universe progressed at a different rate than mine. Well, that makes things easy.
So Izuku begins to like freak out and start walking backwards, and Inko comes running up to him.
She's like, baby, is it okay? I saw him pass you his hair, and he said, I give you my quirk, one for all.
And Izuku, like, All Might basically slams the door shut and pushes the button. And he's like, young man, that's a secret. You need to keep that. And Izuku then turns to All Might and he's like,
wait, is that your quirk? What's going on here, All Might? Why is that woman here? Why does she look like the lady that the other me gave his quirk one for all to? What's going on?
After Izuku has this moment, they explain it to him.
And he walks over to Kendo and he says, for what it's worth, he deeply cared for you. I felt his pain.
And then Kendo begins to cry a little bit. And Izuku's like,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. And Kendo's like, no, it's fine. I realize now why I got transported to here and not my destination. Damn it, nerd. Damn it, Izuku. You really did use the last bit of your power to make sure we were safe.
and with that, you beautiful souls, this is going to be the end of the 3.5K special. Now, this is going to come out later today. I have to first, I'm first going to let a few people view it first to get like their critique. So that being said, like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely let me know what you think of this series down below. And I will see you beautiful souls in the next video. Also, regardless of what happens in the future, this story is pretty much a self-contained multiverse. And many of you that know what the video is and were paying attention at the beginning of the video, you'll understand where this series is going to go. So that being said, I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.